Hi everyone, Jonah from Normware, and this is SBTF Task Triage Part 2. I'm going to go with a stopwatch just to make sure that this doesn't get too long. All right. Yeah, keep. Like, like keep? Anyway, keep. Keepers. To do. No, anyway, this stuff gets kept. Oh man, this is me losing my mind. No, let's not do that. Anyway, this stuff I'm going to keep. This stuff I'm still looking through. Moving forward, wasted 40 seconds. Okay, animated equipment, tech parts. So the idea was, am I recording? Yes, I am. That some stuff would move around. Maybe there would be like rotating fans. I guess is probably one of the classic ones from that old StarCraft cinematic when they went into the science vessel. Yeah, it's not. It's just a mood thing. It's not required for this game. I'm gonna go faster now. Try subtractive blood particles. Yeah, that's the reasoning there is that the way that the blood that stays on the walls and on the floor. How that is blended in, it's actually subtractive, so it's just a detail. But I was saying that maybe the particles that are flying in the air should use subtractive mode. There's no need for that, at all. Spotlight calling to use simpler shader paths. Okay, that was the idea that mainly in the renderer there's a lot of baked lighting, and then there's the single light that is most of the time on your flashlight or your gun. And some people who have been observant know that that's a limitation of the engine. There's only one dynamic light. So sometimes other people firing or sentries firing will steal your light away, and it looks like a glitch. It is a glitch, But the idea was that in the shaders, there's always a light in there, So every pixel that gets rendered takes the light into account. And that's an analytical light, so it's like it's doing like, am I inside the cone of the spotlight? Such and such. And there's, when it's just one player in there, most of the time there's just one flashlight, your flashlight, and most of the time things aren't shooting because the muzzle flash is a short thing. So you could argue that a lot of the stuff that is getting rendered is not affected by the lights, and then you could write permutations of the shaders so that you didn't have that light in there. But you would pay a little bit of CPU cost to evaluate that. But anyway, what would have happened if I'm not going to do it, and what would happen there would be way more permutations, and I'm already in uber shader hell for those of you who know what that is. So no, not happening. Also, the game runs on your grandmother's potato. Thank you very much, whoever it was in the forums who said that. Yes, the system requirements aren't that high, so it's not really worth it. Get rid of perceived hitch when mission loads. Multi-threading. That one would be really nice to have, because I don't like that the game is single-threaded, and I don't like that everything locks up when the game is loading. A lot of people give me a lot of love because they feel that it's great that the game loads so fast. I don't like the fact that it takes as long as it does to build the level meshes and stuff. That one is potentially quite complicated, and no one has complained, so it's just me. So I'm just gonna just try to work smarter, not harder. Perhaps make splash correct aspect ratio, and I assume I'm talking about the little splash screen. Oh yeah, no. What I'm thinking is there used to be images in the background of the menus. Like at one time, a very scared version of me as a space marine and such, and some digital paintings I've been doing. These days, it's the whole what I call the dead world. The wanderer through the dead world. So it's that sort of shader, the blue shader, and you're flying through a map. So that's not applicable anymore. Consider adding a Z-pass. That's technical. The idea there is that if the renderer is bound by pixel shader complexity, you can render just a pass filling in the Z buffer first. So then when you render all the triangles, anything that would have been behind something else it gets early Z rejection. You don't have to pay for all the you know, you don't have to pay for all the expensive shaders that will just get overwritten anyway. Technical. I'm gonna keep that one because it is a little bit interesting. Make sure to time the difference. So and what I can get out of what we can all get out of that is potentially lowering the system requirements even more. So it's cheaper because I've found that the game tends to be when it does block on the GPU, it tends to be fill rate limited because the shaders are quite complex in terms of how the lighting works. So anything like that is probably worth it from a quality standpoint. Campaign mode, large space hulk, several maps, floors, all persistent for entire campaign, fixed number of troops available to play with. Some of that stuff is implemented. So campaign of the week is there, several maps is there, all persistent. Yeah, it's implicit now. It's a procedurally generated campaign. Fixed number of troops to play with, nah. But what we do have is leaderboards. Yeah, weekly campaign. So some of that stuff got done, and I'm happy about that. So I'm just gonna leave that. Put up a big download activation disabled, aborted warning when you get disconnected from a core. Yeah, that's just, you know, for clarity. There is a sound now, so I'm not gonna do anything for that. More generated player texture stuff. Partial armor colors depend on rank. Composite decals. That one is interesting. There is a system for generating the player textures because it composites things like your name, your rank, what face you're using. That's done at load time, and which means, and I think the most interesting thing is aside from the stuff that's in this list here, is, you know, putting user faces in. And that is, you know, just a local file for you. You know, put it in a certain directory and it will put that as your face. You know, that's relatively simple to do. But then there's the whole, like, how does that, you know, the whole point of it, or the main point of it, I would say, is to do it for multiplayer, so other people can see your face. And you know, that's fun. You know, it's certainly fun for this project. You know, I'm gonna do this. We'll call it that. We'll do post release 1.0. So yeah, because the point of this triage right now is getting to 1.0, getting out of early access. You know, let's call this SBTF task triage, getting out of early access. That's the point of all of this. That's what I'm doing, right? So I'm saying that this is fun. We'll call it, you know, player faces. I think that would be fun to do, and I'm just gonna, you know, may or may not happen, but I'm just gonna keep it, you know. Cool. Use Steamwork for persistent player stats. Well, no. Perhaps. I would say in that case, general local all-time stats. That might be interesting. And I'm going to put it there. Support localization. That one is kind of tough. Because yes, it would generally be a good idea to support localization, have this game localized to many languages. I've been contacted by many companies that, you know, they want to talk to me about that, you know, but it's not trivial, not least because problems include how the text rendering works. It's very limited. It's only a subset of ASCII. You know, I don't have any Unicode support. You know, getting into things like, you know, any kind of Chinese, really hard. Even things like with umlauts, like even Swedish or German or something like that. I just can't support it technically right now. So that one will have to be post-release, I think. I think it's important if you can do it, but in the interest of getting out of early access, no. Grenades, throw, frag, sticky decoy, not this project. Cartridge cases, shells flying out of the gun when shooting. You know, that's flavor, that's fun. I like the idea. Let's do that. You know, You know, what a lot of people, you know what they say when it comes to finishing a project. How do you finish a project? You delete your backlog. So, this is no promises slash, let's do that. Linux version, I don't think it's worth it, because of, just historically looking at all the statistics on who plays what on what game on what platforms. Goes for the Mac as well, because that's a Linux, or it's based on Linux. The main problem is that I'm on DirectX. Now, since I wrote this stuff, I learned GL. I know GL. I like GL. I did some work on in VR OpenGL, so it would be fun. It might be interesting moving forward. Let's do that, because now that I do know GL and thinking about moving on from DirectX 9 potentially, let's leave it at that. Maybe later. Locked door security levels, key cards. Not for this game. Item pickups in general. Well, we have the upgrades that we're going to stay at. Keycard, locked doors, yeah. More level styles. Did it. Tutorial, better info menus. Ooh, I like that idea. We have to do it better. It has to be better. Not least, I think Timpedia said, at least like a screenshot with like what do all these icons mean. At least a HUD explanation. Man, need that. Think about other game objectives. No, I evaluated and discarded multiple game modes, and that's how we got where we are today with the way that the scientists upgrade your science and your ammo. It's just like, I've been through that. Not happening. Leaking steam pipes. Flavor, that's nice, not happening. Crackling power lines, not happening. Unlockable galleries, short, sharp bits of well-written 80s grim sci-fi storyline, or unlockable features. Well, that has been done in terms of what's it called, data bank or something. What that is basically just dev blah blah. If you've seen it. But that is a progression thing. There's a lot of them, over 100 of them. You get those randomly, and they're stored locally, so you can read about it. It's in the data bank in the main menu, and you can. It has nothing to do with. It's certainly not well written 80s grim sci-fi storyline. It's unlockable features. It's more about the development of the game, and that's what I had. I had a lot of content there, so that's what I put in, and that's as far as I'm going to go. Tim, check controller room design. Tim, I'm sure you had a great design, but look at this. This is like January 29th, 2015. We weren't even out in early access then. And I'm like, again, respect to Tim Sheck. I'm sure there are a lot of thoughts there. I'm sure, there's stuff worth reading there, but not for this project. I don't want to open any cans of worms when it comes to, making the scope bigger, because the difference between that timestamp and right now is I think I know what at least this game, SBTF 1 as it is, needs to be. Ceiling suckers. What is that? Well, the idea was, you could get like, remember the scene in Alien 3, where some dude is holding forth in the mess hall, and then he gets like grabbed and sucked up into the ceiling and eaten by a monster, which is really cool. I'm going to say that one is interesting in terms of more verticality, and more verticality and richer worlds is really what I'm thinking right now that the sequel will mainly be about. I think a little bit lurkers kind of hit the spot. That has been added, the way that the beasts lurk in the infestation. So I'm happy about that. Flazer weapon. What's a flazer? Well, it's a flamethrower laser. Laser that light beasts on fire, welds and cuts doors. Welding and cutting, I'm not even going to get into that, because that has been discussed, ad nauseum. So not welding and cutting doors. Laser lights beasts on fire. That goes along with the old discussion about a fire mechanic. Certainly for other games, interesting. It certainly fits the design space. Single line text-based sentry HUD with ammo counts. Remove when empty. That was kind of interesting, you know, in terms of in your heads-up display, you could have, for all the sentries that you had activated, you could put them up there in the HUD. You know, I like that. I think that might be something worth looking at just for flavor, you know. So when you I'm thinking that when you activate a sentry, you get a single line, you know, it says sentry 1, 2, 3, 4, and how many rounds are remaining, and you'll see it. And I think that's really cool. That's sort of a very Aliens director's cut sort of thing, because it's like, that is ominous, you know, in the same way that the mission log in itself is ominous. It says, oh, breach detected. You know, I've seen videos when people see that and they're like, oh my God, what does that mean? You know, and I think that it's cheap. That would be cheap to do technically, and I think it would be interesting. So yeah, 15 minutes plus. I'm gonna stop here and continue in the next video.